All right, welcome back to the Here's the Deal channel. I want to talk about this incident that happened in Burnsville, Minnesota, where two cops were, and one firefighter was as well. But I consider this a very serious situation because anytime a firearm is discharged in the direction of a human being, it's serious. And I personally ask, why did that happen? What were the events that led up to the discharge of a weapon that ended in the eradication of 3 people and possibly the 4th? So all I ask you guys to do in the chat, I don't ever, you can say what you want, but please be respectful. This isn't me trying to dog on people, but this is me questioning. And that's all I'm doing, YouTube algorithms. I am just questioning here. I'm not making any assertions. I want to go through some of these videos. I want to look at these cops' reactions to this tragic event. And it is tragic because somebody's, son is gone. Somebody's dad is gone. Somebody's husband, significant other. There are family members that are attached to this whole situation. Not to mention what happened to there were 7 kids inside the house, ranging from 2 years old to 15 years old. What the heck happened? So I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but I've got a lot of questions. And if asking a question is disrespectful, I don't apologize for that because that's how we get answers. But I'll tell you this, nothing is usually as it's presented by the media or by the police when you have a situation like this. I see a lot of emotion. I see a lot of, kind of a lot of information going on. But when people start acting on emotion and there are these emotional triggers, then misinformation somehow is easier to digest for the unthinking masses. And usually when the mainstream media and the government, or in this case, the police departments, get together and release statements to the public, often what you'll find is, it may take the passage of time. It may take a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road, but we find out that, hey, that initial report that was reported on by mainstream media, that initial release, that press release from the cops, it kind of didn't go down that way. And I'll just give you one example. Do you guys remember the Harding Street incident where Dennis and Regina Tuttle were basically swatted by a neighbor that didn't like her, and she gave a false report, and the police acted on that false report, and then the police lied during it, and it was just a whole crazy incident that was riddled with a bunch of lies. But at the end of the day, a dog was dead, Regina was dead, Dennis was dead, and 5 cops got hurt in the process. So I'm just doing this video right here because I want to note some psychological abnormalities going on. And I want to ask questions because I really don't think that what we're seeing right now are answers, not true answers, in my opinion. So let's take a look at the initial response of the police department when they put out their first press release just, not even 24 hours ago.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Can you guys hear this?
My name is Greg Lindberg. I'm the city manager here in Burnsville, and it's been a difficult and emotional day here for...
Yeah, Redneck Rebel is saying he hasn't heard of this. This is all over the news. Like, check this out. Everybody's reporting on this. This is on the heels of what happened in Missouri at that Kansas City Chiefs parade. And again, this involves firearms, and we know what's going to happen. Second verse, same as the first. They're going to come out with this story about how horrific this firearm is that he used. More than likely, I haven't heard what kind of gun it is, but more than likely, it's going to be the dreaded, scary black AR-15 that's only supposed to be on the battlefields and not supposed to be on Main Street. So what happened was these 2 cops. Let's see, can you guys see that? This is a cop right here. And this is a cop. This is Adam Finseth, and Officer Adam Finseth is the paramedic, and Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruggie was I don't know, that their lives were extinguished, but we don't really know why. We don't know what happened. They responded to a domestic call. We're going to get the lowdown from this guy right here. And we're going to listen to the police chief. And I really want to kind of hone in on the reaction of the police chief. And I want to compare that with how they react when a member of the public is victimized by the police. And then we're going to look at some of the stuff that mainstream media is trying to cram down our throats.
Our community and our team, I thank you all for being with us today as we share some important information on a critical incident that occurred in our community this morning. Today, we'll have several updates for you. First, Drew Evans from the BCA will provide an update on the critical incident that occurred. And then both our police chief and our fire chief will make comments about this difficult day in our team, in our family here in Burnsville. Words can't express how hard today hit.
Now, notice his voice is quivering. It's going to be the same with the police chief and other people who come up to the lectern, and their voices are quivering, their eyes are wet. It's tragic to them. I'm not minimizing this at all for them. This is their experience. This is how they're venting their emotions. But again, I got a lot of questions about all this.
Has been. We know that people want and need information, and that's our role in providing good government and good service to the community.
Good government.
And we want to also make sure that we take good care of our team, the people who serve this community day in and day out, and their families. So thank you for giving us the grace and the patience and the understanding to inform their loved ones, to take care of our team, and to even process this ourselves. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Evans with the BCA.
Okay, he's going to give some more detail.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Drew Evans. I'm the superintendent at the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, and we've been asked to investigate this matter, and I'll provide a quick update. First, thank you on behalf of the team here for all the law enforcement support, the governor's support, the Commissioner of Public Safety support, for everybody that's having just an incredibly difficult day. This is really a terrible day for the city of Burnsville, all of the residents, the law enforcement, and fire communities that are mourning the loss of these public servants that occurred early today. At approximately 1:50 a.m. on February 18th, Burnsville police were called to a residence in the 12,600 block of 33rd Avenue South on a report of a domestic situation where a man was reported to be armed and barricaded with family members in the home. We later learned that there were 7 young children in the home, ranging from ages 2 to 15 at the time of this event occurred. When officers got to the scene, the individual was barricaded, and they spent quite a bit of time negotiating with this individual who was barricaded in the home, and additional officers responded at that time. At one point during that barricaded situation, the subject opened fire on the officers in the home, and officers Elmstrad.
See, here's what I wonder. I wonder who fired first, because we know, especially in young cops, and we've seen this. There's a pattern in young cops. We know that there's testosterone going on. There's adrenaline flooding the system. In some cases, I'm not saying it all, and I'm not saying it's happening in this one, but steroids play a part. So it changes, it alters your mind, it alters your mood, it alters your ability to cope with what life is handing you at the time. So there's all these variables that I don't think that they're going to say, that they're going to touch on and speak about. If there was an act of aggression, an initiation of an act of aggression on the part of the police department and these officers that arrived on the scene, do you think that the police department and the investigations unit is going to be forthright with that information? Because we've seen time after time in the past where not only are they not forthright, they obscure what actually happened. It's just, man, you hate to be in a world where you've got to question everything, but you know what? You got to question everything. You can't believe everything that you see on TV. You especially can't believe something that comes from a profession where you've seen them time and time again in their training courses. Hey, they're trained to engage in deceptive practices and not be forthright with the truth.
Ruge and Finseth for the fire department, Mr. Finseth, were killed by the gunman during the response. One other officer, Sergeant Adam Medlicott, was injured and was shot as well, where he's suffered non-life-threatening injuries, but is in the process of being treated. At approximately 8 a.m., the subject was reported to be deceased in the home, and later that morning, those other children and family members were able to escape from the home.
So I wonder so there's 7 children. I wonder who the other family members are, because reading the article, it says 7 children who are inside. The suspect, who has not been publicly identified and has several guns and large amounts of ammunition. You're going to see this a lot. Several guns and large amounts of ammunition. And then we're going to get information from neighbors who said, yeah, I heard this pow, 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 pow. It was like an automatic gun or something. And you just know in your heart of hearts, in your knower that they're going to vilify a particular kind of weapon so that they can criminalize everybody who holds that weapon, so they can make this broad brush law where if you have one of these things, man, you better turn them in or you're in trouble.
Residents are asked to allow our teams to stay away from the area and allow our teams to complete the crime scene investigation that needs to occur in that location still at this time. I'm going to go through quickly just a little bit of background on the officers before I turn it over to Police Chief Schwartz.
Let's see. Should we even go over this? Let's see. When is Schwartz coming on? Yeah, it's not very long. Puddintain says, I'm a lifelong Minnesotan, and I noticed the fire department putting up these flags by Highway 169. What's that about? What's on the flags? What flags are we talking about? Are they blue line flags, or what are they?
And it's about who they are. Paul Elmstrand is 27 and joined the Burnsville Police Department in August of 2017, first as a community service officer, and he was later promoted to officer in July of 2019.
So he's been on for about 7 years.
He was part of the department's mobile command staff, peer team, honor guard, and field training unit. Officer Matthew Ruge, age 27, joined the Burnsville Police Department in April of 2020. He was part of the department's crisis negotiations team, and was a physical evidence officer. And then firefighter Adam Finseth, age 40, has been a Burnsville firefighter paramedic since 2019. As they noted, we're in the very beginning stages of this investigation. I know everybody wants to know exactly what occurred and really what led up to these really terrible events that occurred.
And as far as I know and what we've seen, people like this already know what happened. They have their set of facts, whether it was fed to them and they're just kind of, they don't know firsthand. Maybe they have firsthand facts. Maybe they've read the reports and they don't know all the details. They just aren't going to release it. They choose not to release that information to the public because there's an ongoing investigation. There's no transparency and stuff like this. And basically you got to take mainstream media's word for it. You got to take what the cops are saying. You got to take them at their word. And a lot of times, historically speaking, that has steered a lot of people in the exact opposite direction.
Today, I'd ask that you have patience as we work through that. We'll piece together everything that we can to provide the answers in due time. Now, at this time, we're providing these basic updates so that we can share just a little bit of what occurred. We'll answer a few questions at the conclusion of this.
Oh, I got questions.
Our crime scene will be active and ongoing in that process. I will note just a few things in this in terms of...
Put some of your questions down in the chat. If they're good questions, I'm going to read them. One of my questions is, were there body cams on your 2 officers? Do we have the body cam footage? Because I could care less what any police chief says. I could care less what any internal investigations team says. I want to see what the body cam shows. Because while police may lie, while other prosecutors may lie, while news agencies may lie, cameras don't. I want to see that footage. And they got it. They got it somewhere. Dash cams. They had They had a militarized vehicle out there. That thing's probably equipped with some kind of dash cam. There were body cams. There's probably Ring doorbell cams from across the street and houses right next to them that were probably confiscated by the police department, probably already.
Questions. We still don't know the exact exchange of gunfire that occurred. Certainly, several officers did return fire. I will note that this individual had several guns and large amounts of ammunition.
Here you go again.
Shot at the police officers from multiple.
Several guns, large amounts of ammunition. That's scary language to people who want to go after other people's guns.
Positions within the home in that incident, and the exact timing and cadence of what occurred will be part of our active investigation as we review video, officers, body cams, video that might be in the area, conduct interviews, and all available evidence to really figure out exactly what occurred in this.
Okay, so if you have the body cam, just release it. We don't care if you have an investigation. What happened is a public interest story. And we want to know exactly what happened without it being filtered through you, without it being filtered through some kind of internal investigations team, without it being filtered through media. We don't want anything redacted. We don't want anything edited. Just give us the raw body camera footage. That's what transparency is all about. How interested do you think they are to release that body camera footage right now if they got it?
Incident. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Police Chief Tanya Schwartz.
Here we go. Now listen closely to her voice quivering.
Thank you for being here. This is a hard day. It's a really hard day for our public safety family. We're hurting. Okay, we're hurting. Today, 3 members of our team made the ultimate sacrifice for this community. They are heroes. Our police officers and our fire paramedics, they come to work every day. They do it willingly. They know that they might have to give up their life for their partners, for someone else. They know they have to give up their life sometime.
But you know what they also know? From that frontline special that they did on that police department, and this is pretty much across the board. It's not relegated just one police department. Their primary goal is no matter what, we got to get home safe at the end of the night so we can be with our families. That's the primary objective.
And they do it anyways. And you cannot understand it if you're not in the profession. Every day we want them to go home to their families. Every day we pray that they go home to their families. And today that's not happening.
What about our families? I mean, what about the danger we're placed in every day? Every time you get behind the wheel of your car and you go on the open road, you are taking a chance of getting pulled over by what a lot of people consider to be road pirates, where they give themselves the right and the justification to trample your unalienable rights under something called traffic law. What about our lives? What about our pocketbooks? What about our economic security and our prosperity? What about our property? Why is it about you? Why is it about you making it home to your family safe? There's always this. That's what the thin blue line is all about. It's a dividing line between us and them. And it's self-imposed. They put it on themselves.
We are all hurting. Our officers, our fire department, our families, all of our staff, our community.
Now she's speaking for the entire community. What if there are people in the community that are like, "What? Don't you dare sit there and speak for me." We're going to see. I think I have the segment pulled up, but there's going to be a news lady say the whole state is hurting. The law enforcement community and everybody in the state is hurting over this. You can't. What? Stop saying that stuff. Speak for yourself. Don't start speaking for other people. You can't even speak for everybody in the law enforcement community, although with the thin blue line thing, you probably can. because they look out for their own and they back their own no matter what. It doesn't matter if they're wrong. They're going to back them against you. And how do we know this? Because at those traffic stops, when backup arrives, there's not one. You could have 10 cops on the scene, 20 cops on the scene, 376 cops on the scene like you had in Uvalde, and you do not have one occurrence of one person standing up and doing the right thing. And you know, when you have that enigma that shows up every once in a while on the radar screen, where that lady grabbed the female cop grabbed the sergeant by his belt as he was abusing that guy in the back of the cop car. Okay. But how many lives did she abuse before and after that event? So yeah, I'm not saying that cops don't do good things, and we have said this a lot of times, but you know, for the most part, they are set up there to do one thing, and that's to go home safe at the end of the night. They're constantly voicing how they're scared. You made me nervous. You got to get out of the car, according to Pennsylvania versus Mims. We have the right to stop you, according to Terry v. Ohio, and we don't care about your Fourth Amendment. We see that a lot.
We're heartbroken. We are heartbroken. We are going to need time to be together. Please. Our families need time to grieve. They need time to be together.
Please, my family needs time to be together. That sounds like Bernardino County, where the family was going down the road at a high rate of speed, not endangering lives, trying to get their dog Stella to the vet so that they could save Stella's life. And then Navarro comes along and, you know, puts all the family members on the ground at gunpoint. They're saying, please, we just need time. We need time. So when society asks the cops, please give me time, give me space, let me investigate myself, I'll get back with you. You're not afforded that time, but somehow the society needs to afford you guys time to grieve for something that we don't even know what happened. What if they were the aggressors? What if they were the initiators of force and violence? We don't know, because it is what it is. Cops are known to, let's just say, bend the truth. Mainstream media is known to just outright lie as they support the thin blue line.
We need you to pray for them.
Yeah, Stella did not make it, by the way. Stella did not make it. And that guy was pleading with Navarro. By the way, Navarro is in jail now because turns out what we suspected about him was true. If he's going to treat people like this in broad daylight, what's he going to do with people in his daily life when he doesn't think the cameras are rolling? Sure enough, he was abusive to his girlfriend, and it was on camera. If you want to look at that, I put a video out. I think it was a live. Was it a live stream? I don't remember. I don't know. Things are running together. But anyway, it's one of my last 2 or 3 videos, either on the live stream or on the regular uploads.
That's what we need right now. Superintendent Evans shared a little bit about each of the officers. I will just share that Officer Paul.
I don't hear any tears for the 7 children. I don't see. There's no mention. I have not seen that yet. We're 8 minutes into a 21-minute briefing. I don't know if we're going to watch this whole thing, but I haven't heard one thing about the children. I want to listen to what the journalists and the audience are going to ask the cops. I want to hear if they're going to be substantive, because usually they aren't.
Elmstrand was with the department for 6 years and 6 months. Officer Matthew Ruge.
Yeah, we already know.
With the police department for 3 years. And
I'm going to fast forward.
Good afternoon. I am BJ Jungman. I'm the fire chief for the city of Burnsville. This is the toughest day that the city of Burnsville and our public safety family has ever experienced. My hearts and prayers go out to the families who lost a loved one in the line of duty today. Our folks come to work every day and are willing to give up the ultimate sacrifice of their life, but no one expects it to happen. It's a tragic day. We're all grieving, and we're all trying to understand what happened and why. I would like to share a little bit of information about the firefighter paramedic we lost in the line of duty today.
All right, I'm just going to go through because I want to see questions about the actual incident. I'm not really into the personal information stuff. Let's see if anybody's going to answer any real questions.
Chiefs, thank you. Chief Schwartz said it best just now. We're hurting as a team and as a family, particularly for those individuals who have chosen our police and our fire departments as a career to serve this community and to live out day to day what is one of the most important things here in Burnsville, and that's keeping our community safe. We're going to support each other. We're going to care for one another as a team, because we talk a lot about in this organization and as a family that if we take care of each other, that's when we can best care for our community.
But, you know, the thing that gets me about this is for them, it goes their way. But when we ask for the same thing, it doesn't go our way. You know, they want to take and take and take, but they never want to give.
And we're going to do that. And it's going to be hard. We'll support our staff the best that we can in the coming days. We also will make sure that you have all of the information that you need to help us do the same. I'd ask that you use the website burnsvillemn.gov/community updates, where we'll be posting all of the information that we share with the community and beyond as we work together to continue to support each other, to care for the community. And speaking of caring for the community, I'd invite all of you, our community and beyond, to attend an informal vigil tonight outside of City Hall, where we'll join.
I'm going to go to this next guy here. Let's see if he takes any questions. Here we go.
We can do just a couple questions. It's early in the investigation as a few, but we'll try to answer if we can keep them to the investigation as we let them go back and continue.
Yes, just for clarity, first of all three that were killed inside the home?
No, it's a good question. We're still piecing that together.
Mad Max, you said you sent me an email, but I don't see any email from a Mad Max, and I get buried every day on email. So, you know, if you guys send me emails, forgive me. Somebody had said, why don't you have a link to your email? I'm pretty sure I have a link to my email, and under every single video. Let me just real quick check. Let's see. This is the last video I uploaded, so I don't know if you guys can see this. Yeah, look, email contact@highimpactflix.com. That's my email address right there. So I don't know why people say that that they have trouble finding my email. I pretty much I make it easy to find, I think. Is that misspelled or something? Huh. Yeah, so there it is. All right, let's hear these questions here.
Right now, I can tell you at least one of the officers was shot inside of the home. The other two that were deceased, we're still piecing together if it was inside or outside of the home. But I can tell you that officer...
They're piecing it together. You know if a body is inside or outside of the house. So we're being told now that one of the cops was inside the house.
That took fire inside of the home and once they were outside of the home.
Was the paramedic attending to an officer when he was struck?
So the paramedic was part of the team. The SWAT team was called to this incident, and they were in the process of helping resolve that. And as part of that, they have paramedics that are assigned to that team, and they were assisting with the officer, the first one that was injured.
Thanks for your update. Adrian Ronish from NBC News, 8-year Minnesota resident. Have you all been called to that home before?
So we're still working through all of that.
Let me tell you what some of my questions are. Have there been any disciplinary actions on either of the officers at any time in their career? Did either of the officers or both officers have a body camera that was activated? Has there been any training for de-escalation practices in domestic violence situations on your officers? These are just a couple of the questions just came up off the top of my head, let alone sitting there and taking the time to write out questions. Let me know, what questions would you guys ask? Because I want to know the answers to some of these questions. We can't have another Dennis Tuttle situation here.
home. There was this particular residence with this individual. There had not been.
Toby Stewart says he's struggling to piece together a coherent lie. Man, I wish that was a far-fetched notion, but it's not.
Been many calls for service at all.
The domestic situation that brought officers there, can you elaborate on that?
Oh, he is. I did not notice that. George Daly says he's sweating. Yeah, he sure is.
This time it's part of the active investigation. We can't provide any more information than what we've had. So the suspect is deceased, as we noted in this particular instance, and he is, as a part of that, the medical examiner will do the official identification. We believe we know who the individual is, but the official identification needs to come from the medical office.
We believe we know.
We're working through that right now. The medical examiner will provide that. That autopsy will occur tomorrow.
There was an armored vehicle on scene at Tahlequah windows. Are you able to say that protect other officers inside?
So that vehicle that you saw was...
What a dumb question. There was an armored vehicle on the scene. Can you say that armored vehicle did anything to protect some of the other officers? Of course it did. Anything. Having a trash can, a full trash can would have probably protected them. Give me a break. There's an armored vehicle on the scene. You don't think they can hide behind that and be protected? That's silly. Okay, we need to establish a precedent here. Okay, so we have armored vehicle on the scene protecting a whole lot of officers. Maybe we need to allocate in next year's budget something where we can get some more MRAPs for this city. That's what we need, so we can protect more officers. Who cares about the residents? We need to protect officers here.
Was used as part of the SWAT team that was on scene shortly after the gunfire erupted, and was used as part of that process, which is why it was shot.
Are there any requests for extreme risk protection orders against the suspect?
We're still part of the active investigation at this time. Yeah. Well, certainly, 7 children inside of the home from, ages 15 to 2. It's a very troubling situation for everybody involved in this particular incident, and we're glad they aren't hurt as part of this.
Who was able to call for help?
So a resident that was inside of the residence made the initial call.
What can you tell us about the gun? It's got a high profile.
So we'll be able to provide more information about that later on. I will say there were multiple firearms recovered from inside of the residence.
Superintendent, you said you were going to take a few more questions. Are
Yep.
you about done?
I maybe take one more.
I'm understanding that he shot out the second-story window. Is that true?
Yeah, so there was shooting that came from the upper portion of the residence and on the main floor of the residence as well. So thank you for your time. We'll provide more information as we can from there. Thanks.
Okay, let's see this next guy. I don't know who he is. Who's this guy? Oh, they turned his mic off.
Minnesotans are heartbroken. This is a tragedy that I think.
Did you hear it? He's speaking for all Minnesotans. Minnesotans are heartbroken. Are they all really? Are they all? Like, what percentage do you think is heartbroken about this? Yeah, it's tragic anytime somebody loses their life, but could there be a justification for it this time? I'm not saying there is. I'm not saying there isn't, but could there be? Could it be that the guy inside the house was maybe trying to defend himself? Could it be that the cop got in because he lied, or he broke in the door and was there a violation of rights? There's my question. Did any of the police officers violate the unalienable rights that we all possess? Please answer that question. Well, it doesn't matter because we had a domestic violence. So you're saying domestic violence calls trump individual rights? Because I don't want my rights trampled. That's the platform and the springboard by which all of these journalists should be asking their question. Realizing that, hey, whatever happens here, whatever's being propagandized and twisted and molded to look like it is something that it's not, we need to understand if they set down a precedent here, this is going to come after me. I don't see that. I don't ever see that. It's always absent.
All of you are going through the same thing is really difficult to process. To the families of Adam, Paul, and Matt, Minnesota mourns with you. State stands ready.
All right, just real quick, Mad Max, did you just send me an email? Because I don't want to reveal what your name is, but did you just send me an email? If you haven't, go ahead and send it right now. That way I'll make sure that I get it. What's up, John?
To assist in any way possible. You've seen from BCA Commissioner Jacobson, the State Patrol, of course, assisting in ways that they can. But that's just not today and tomorrow. It's for years to come. And I think for Minnesotans to recognize families that are shattered by something like this forever, that'll ever change it. A huge thank you to the city of Burnsville. I've been on the phone a couple of times today with Mayor Couts. She, too, is heartbroken. There's no one more proud of this great city than her, and advocating for it, and to have this happen is tragic. And to the
All right, Max, I'll take a look. Thank you.
the folks who stand up here, Burnsville Fire, Burnsville Police, but all of our partners in the area, this is a very small fraternity when it gets down to it, and everybody knows everybody. And I think you heard...
It's a fraternity. It is a fraternity, the Fraternal Order of Police. Oh, we got an update. Tragedy. Okay, there's an update here. You know what? I don't know if I want to listen to this guy ramble anymore. I want to show you two. Let's see. This is one of the witnesses right here. Oh man, I thought I had that other one pulled up. Where is it? Is it this one? I think this is it.
The fatal shooting of 3 first responders in Burnsville this morning. It happened this morning around 5:30 a.m. Those officers have been identified as Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge, who are 2 Burnsville police officers. Adam Finseth.
That wasn't it. Is it this one?
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry.
This is where they're talking to Chief Brian O'Hara and Minneapolis Mayor Fry as they react. I wanted to show you this guy's reaction right here.
You both, thank you for coming on. We're coming on to talk about a recruitment video, to talk about policing that we had talked to people about and teased in our 7 o'clock hour. But now, given the situation in Burnsville, we know this is rocking the law enforcement community. I know this is a different city. This is in Burnsville, and we're talking to you folks from Minneapolis. But do you have any personnel there? Can you tell us anything at all about how this is rocking the law enforcement community?
So I was with the Burnsville police chief this morning.
Okay, listen to this guy.
As well as several members of our department. You know, our hearts go out to Chief Tanya Schwartz and the members of the Burnsville police and all the families who are affected by this tragedy. It's just a reminder of the nature of this job today, the nature of police work. It's a reminder that policing is truly a noble profession.
There you go. And that is the thread line that's running through this whole thing. Policing is a noble profession. Policing is a noble profession. Police are the good guys. That's the main takeaway. And the other takeaway is we should all be extremely sad about this event. We have lost some heroes, and we need to all be taking this seriously. And we all need to look inside and dig down deep and find out what we can do to give this family, this Fraternal Order of Police, some space and some respect. Even though that peace and that respect and that grace and that mercy isn't reciprocated.
That our members in departments everywhere have to be prepared on a moment's notice to put their life on the line. And I think we're reminded.
But what about when you guys put? We rarely. I mean, if you're going to look at it from a ratio perspective, we rarely ever put their lives on the line. But as few of them as there are, according by comparison to the general population. They're always continually putting our lives on the line. Why do you think you're so nervous when you're getting pulled over? Because you know something unjust is about to happen to you. Now, they could be a good guy and go, you know what, I'm just going to let you off with a warning. You were 17 miles an hour over the speed limit. I'll let you out. Everybody's been through that kind of thing. But for the most part, they can walk up and they can really make your life a living hell. They can say, when was the last time you smoked marijuana? I can smell marijuana really, really strongly in this car right now, and I suspect that you're probably guilty. When was the last time you had anything to drink? How come your eyes are darting back and forth? Where'd you come from? Where are you going? How many drinks have you had tonight, sir? And our hearts are adrenaline starts releasing. Our hearts start beating like crazy in our chests. We're looking at our rearview mirror going, oh God, this could be the last day of my life because some ego-tripping, power-hungry, psychopathic maniac is about to have his way with me and get drunk on his own power as he's accusing me of being drunk. You know, we saw it, that FAA pilot who blew 000s and got zeros on a drug test, got in trouble with his job. Cop didn't care about that. Or how about that young high school football player? He blew 000s. What was it, twice on camera? Or that one that I released from the Fish and Wildlife Association from Florida? He blew 000s twice and they still took him to jail? They don't care. They don't care about justice. They don't care about keeping the lake safe or the road safe. All they care about is exercising their power. And then we find out that police departments in Loveland, Colorado, for example, are having bets on how many DUI citations they can write in a week. It's just disgusting, man.
Just with so much gun violence lately.
There you go. There's another thing. So much gun violence. Just so much gun violence. If you were a cop, and you were, let's say you thought you were a good cop, why would you ever feed into that nonsense, that propaganda nonsense, that there's something called inanimate object violence? Maybe people want to defend themselves against the redcoats. Maybe how about that? Is that a possibility?
In Kansas City this week, and so many other incidents. You know, our officers, we ask a whole lot of police officers in this country today. We ask them to do a whole lot of different things. And, you know, again, I think this is just a reminder of how serious a commitment people make when they put on this uniform and they leave their...
He makes a serious commitment to maybe the syringe. I don't know. He looks like he's got 19 or 20-inch arms here. Who knows? I don't know. So here's the update from 4 hours ago.
We want to bring in right now former FBI agent Scott Duffy. He joins us live now.
We're going to get the truth from a former FBI agent. He was probably on the case when Waco went down, or Ruby Ridge.
We discussed what we know so far. Scott, as always, thanks for your time and for coming on today.
As always, thank you.
So this situation that unfolded yesterday, just so tragic all around. I mean, as we listened to the news conference yesterday, as you saw from the vigil that happened last night, emotions are so high. This is a community that's grieving, and
hit the thumbs up, guys.
Responders were all so young. So tragic that this happened. So you being a former FBI agent, seeing this news, knowing that this was a domestic violence call that they responded to, what was your reaction?
Yeah, Lexi, first and foremost, my hearts and prayers, again, with the Burnsville, Minnesota Police Department, Fire Department, and the whole community that mourns those three beautiful souls, as well as the injured officer who I pray makes a full recovery. So my heart is broken anytime there is a fatality and a felonious assault on law enforcement, first responders.
Wait a second. Is he just jumping to the conclusion that there was a felonious assault? I mean, the guy was in his castle. Yeah, it could be. It could be that there was a domestic violence call from inside the house. It could be that guy, the king of the castle, was jeopardizing somebody's life. And that's that kind of situation. Anybody has the ability to intervene and stop a human being from harming another human being if the person inside the house is asking for help. That would be an exigent circumstance. But what do we see a lot of times? A lot of times when they get there, domestic violence situations are dangerous. And one of the reasons I think they're truly dangerous is because the cops do not possess de-escalation skills. And when they arrive on the scene, it's just like government. You add government to anything in your life, you thought you had problems before. Wait till the government shows up. That's no different when a Leo shows up.
I have many in the EMS and fire field in my own family, and put themselves in harm's way.
Yeah, they probably went to the wrong house. I'm pretty much done with this guy. FBI goon. He's not going to come up with any kind of new information. Let's see this. So they're it looks like they're towing this military vehicle away. Let's see.
This SWAT vehicle that was there on scene at least 6 different times that you can count here. And it looks like from other people.
See, when I see this kind of stuff, I ask myself, where did those bullets come from? And because I think the general audience assumes that those bullets came from the guy inside the house who's wanting to give the cops a hard time. What if it came from the cops? What if those cops died in friendly fire? I mean, is that a question we can ask? You just cannot. I mean, there's no telling what the truth is here. And that's sad. So you got to continue asking these questions. And when people hear you ask a question like that, that's so disrespectful. You're just a cop hater. That's all you. Cop hater? Don't you think the families of these cops who are left to pick up the pieces of their broken life and through their grief, don't you think they deserve the truth too? What if they did die through friendly fire and it had nothing to do with what happened from a firearm inside the house? And even when we get the final report, how are we going to believe it if we don't have video evidence of what actually happened? You saw what they tried to get away with Dennis and Regina Tuttle.
We've spoken to as well that it didn't actually penetrate the windshields here, but certainly just shows how strong the weapons he had were. And
she's assuming that those bullets came out of one of his weapons. Could have been, but what if they didn't? What if they came from a cop's bullets?
How much ammunition he did have on hand too. So knowing
Liberty or Death says, looks like a lot of acorn dents. Man, those acorns, squirrels have great right arms lately. You know, there's some southpaws in there. They can really put a big dent on a military vehicle.
What you know, seeing this video, what types of weapons do you think he could have been armed with?
Oh, here we go.
Well, I would believe that being an armed vehicle, right? It is designed to go into danger, to take enemy fire, and obviously it did. And for those bullets to do the damage it did to the windshield, but not penetrate, there is still shrapnel, glass, and whatnot that is entering into that vehicle. So I would say that they are high-powered weapons, and the fact that they are going to go in and do their investigation, recover those weapons, it will also tell me that you have a subject who was lying in wait, that the subject had planned this.
Wait, why does that tell you that? Are you serious? You, in other words, you can't not be lying in wait and then somebody tries to bang in your door or knock on your door or whatever, and then you prepare right then? This guy's assuming that this was like an ambush or something. What? I got to hear this again. Hold on.
And that have a subject cover those weapons. It will also tell me that you have a subject who was lying in wait, that the subject had planned this.
Come on, somebody has to object to this. Who was the suspect? Oh, good. Look at this. There's a full media blackout on any information on the late suspect other than the suspect is believed to be deceased. Well, finally, at least that's reasonable. It's insensitive to say it could have been worse when a family was quickly identified. Come on, somebody say something about this. He just assumes that this guy is lying in wait. Useless interview subject. I totally agree. I went to my share of these calls, and even though I waited for either the police or sheriff's deputies, I never felt safe until after the call was over. Please don't use that ex-FBI agent again. I'm glad people can see through this. High power. Define them, Mr. FBI agent. A 4570, a 308, a 338. He's going to claim the small 5.56 round. No way. Does he really? No. He did he really? Oh, I got to see this.
And that the intent was to do harm against law enforcement. And
he's ascribing, in this FBI agent on this Fox affiliate is ascribing motive. He was lying in wait. He was intending to do harm to law enforcement.
Ultimately affected his will. So this is how barricaded, and often as a result of domestic disputes, rely or come to fruition. And it's just a tremendous amount of resources that go in here to try to calm a subject who has shown that they are going to do harm to if they're willing to do harm to their loved ones, they absolutely have no problems doing harm.
And we don't even know that yet.
To those who are coming to protect and to remove those loved ones from harm's way. And that's what
Toby Stewart says, we lie to wait. We lie to wait. They can't wait to lie.
We've seen unfold here. No different, Lexi, than in my own backyard here in Pennsylvania a couple of weeks ago with Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Very, very similar outcome.
I can't even stand listening to this guy. Oh, yeah, let's just finish this.
Loved ones every day.
What does the city do? I mean, these are our neighbors. What do you do to try to help in whatever way you can?
There's a lot of solidarity right now, not just between police officers, but between cities. I reached out to Mayor Couts just a little bit ago to make sure that she knew that the city of Minneapolis is 100% with Burnsville right now, and we're with these police officers and their families. As the chief mentioned, this is not just a noble profession, it's an honorable one.
It's a noble and honorable profession. The media is telling us, I'm talking about media as a whole. It's a noble and honest profession. The guy was lying in wait, we're told, ready to do harm against law enforcement, completely excluding the possibility that he might have been provoked in some way, and that the whatever demeanor it was before the cops got there, there's no possible way in the police and the media's mind that it was escalated by our guys. Our guys are the good guys. Our guys are the heroes. Our guys are the ones that should be lauded. And there's no willingness and there's no desire to look at it from the other side of the spectrum. And that's why I wanted to show you this tonight, because the questions aren't being asked like they should be asked, where people are just believing the mainstream media narrative. It's going out like gangbusters. I mean, look at all these. I mean, everybody's covering it. CNN, ABC, CBS, Fox News. They're all covering this, and they're choosing to focus on this because, as this website right here says, and the name of this website is the Officer Down Memorial page. They're talking about how many officers were killed already in the line of duty this year. Remember this guy? We did a video on this guy. There's this Justin Smith, and there's these officers right here have been taken down in the line of duty. And what do they put up there? They also they count dogs as law enforcement officers on the same plane as humans. And if you doubt that, check out the funeral procession they have for some of these dogs sometime. It's pretty strange. It's pretty strange. So what do you think happened? I think anytime there's a loss of life, it's tragic. I think anytime a gun is pointed at and a round is discharged in the direction of a human being, it's something we all should take a look at. Why did it happen? Could this have been de-escalated? What provoked this? Did the officers arriving on the scene make things worse, like we've seen time and time again? Was there a just case of self-defense here? That's a good question. I mean, because if you pose that, if one of these journalists, so-called, posed that at this briefing, I wonder what the response would be while the police chief her voice is quivering. I wonder what her response would have been. Schwartz. Wonder how she would have responded if somebody said, could this be an honest and just case of self-defense? Because we know, officers in the area. And if you were a good reporter, you would pull up report after report of all the incidents. And there are plenty of cops crossing the line, cops violating rights, cops lying on reports. Here's a question. Of these two officers, were either of them, did they happen to be on the Brady list? Are you, Ms. Schwartz, are you on the Brady list? Are any of the officers that are standing behind you on the Brady list? And the Brady list is that list where officers who have diminished credibility or no credibility at all, like Frank what's his name? Frank Sloop, Fridays with Frank. He's on the Brady List, so you can't trust anything he says. Any ticket he writes, you cannot trust that he told the truth on that, because he has exhibited that he is nothing but a liar. So, of course, we don't get substantial questions from the press. We can't, historically, we can't trust anything that comes out of any police department, because they're always busy covering for their own. They will go out of their way to keep you from getting body camera footage in violation of FOIA requests. It's ridiculous. So leave your thoughts. Yeah, Frank is the worst. He is the worst. What a hypocrite. So I Am That I Am says, let's do another stream together. Blessings, Brian. Let's do another stream. Have we done a stream together? I Am That I Am. Dan Harmon drops a super chat and says, honest opinion, everyone. Do you think the thin blue line will ever really care about the people and the Constitution? I don't see any hope for it. I mean, I'm always hopeful, and I try to be optimistic, but when I see stuff like this, I'm also realistic, and I just don't see it, Dan. I don't see any kind of turnaround. I don't see how today's American law enforcement that is incentivized by traffic tickets, incentivized by making civil asset forfeiture stops, incentivized by the war on drugs, which is a war on people, incentivized through this prison industrial complex thing we've got going on, to the point where other nations know us as incarceration nation. I don't see how it can turn around. It's got to be completely taken down, and something completely different has to be built in the ashes, or from the ashes. There's 247 likes. Can you guys, let's get us up to 300 likes. I really appreciate you doing that. It really helps with the algorithms. It combats the algorithms. If you like these commentary videos, let me know. Put a 1 in the room, put a like in the room, share this video with everybody you know. Leave your thoughts about this under the video when it gets done rendering. Let me know what you think the truth is, because even if we get the final report from internal investigations, we know how those have gone in the past, and then there needs to be a third party coming on the scene. That's why we should have our hats off and applaud anybody who takes a video camera and tries to gather real information for the public in all these public interest stories. This is a public interest story, because they're going to attempt to make this affect every single one of us, even though this happened in Minnesota, because they're going to try to ramp up the gun laws. You can't store large amounts of ammunition. We need to make sure there's a laser print on every single cartridge of ammunition you buy, and you can't buy more than 10 rounds a year or whatever. Sure, you have the right to keep and bear arms, but we'll tell you what arms you can keep and what bullets you can have. And further vilifying the dangerous, scary, black, deadly AR-15 that just so happens to jump off the shelf and pull its own trigger. That's how they talk, man. That's how they talk. That's the narrative. That's the agenda. And this is the reality that we're having to deal with. These are the cards that we've been dealt. So subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. Oh, by the way, if you want to get a shirt today and tomorrow, anything you order from the store is free shipping on everything that you order through midnight tomorrow on the 20th. So 19th and 20th, free shipping. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, find out what your rights are, stand for your rights, and resist tyranny. When injustice becomes law, resistance, I think, and I think a lot of other people think, that resistance becomes duty. Freedom is dangerous. The only thing more dangerous is not having it. I will see you guys